Hi everybody, this is going to be the very first page of your blue folder that we are starting to do using Edpuzzles or videos. So you should have 3 foldables here. We're just going to do page 1 in this video. Alright, so let's start with the very first idea, which is this yellow foldable. And the very first thing we learned about this year was simplifying. Okay, so this foldable right here is to simplify. Okay, and on the outside we're going to learn to simplify by combining like terms, and by distribute. Those were 2 different things that we learned this year. Okay, so when we're talking about, and I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in on the yellow folder. When we're talking about combining like terms, we're talking about things like 7 plus 5. We can put those together because they're like terms. Or 2x plus x. Those are like terms. Or 3x squared plus plain old x squared. Okay? They have the exact same variable and the exact same exponent. When we're talking about distribute, we're talking about where you do the multiplying thing. So that's like 3x times x plus 2. Or perhaps you had the 2 parentheses where we did x plus 2 times x plus 3. So we're going to talk about how to do all of these kinds of things right now. So let's start with the combining like terms. So for combining like terms, all you're going to do is you're going to add the coefficients and you're going to keep the exponent the same. So we add coefficients, and we keep the exponent the same. Okay? So, in this first example, we have 2x plus 3x. They have the exact same letter and the exact same exponent on that letter. So we're just going to put the 2 and the 3 together. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So this is 5x. Okay? On this second one, we've got x squared and 6x squared. They both have x and they both have an x squared. So that means that we can put them together. So remember, hiding before the x squared is a 1. And then we also have 6. So this is 1 plus 6, which is 7. And remember, we keep the squared the same. We don't change it on that one because we're adding. Okay, so that's adding, simplifying by combining like terms. Now we have distribute. We have 2 different examples of distribute here. We have this first one, which is where we just multiply the 2 times the number on the outside times both numbers on the inside. So you do 2 times x, which is 2x, and you do 2 times 6, which is plus 12. Multiply the outside number by each term inside. Multiply the outside number by each term inside. Now remember, if you're struggling to keep up with me, you can always push pause and then record your answer and then push play again to get the rest of the notes. Okay, this very last example in the yellow foldable is x plus 3 times 2x plus 5. So remember, on this one, this is where we draw the box and we do like you did in biology. Okay, so we say x plus 3 on one side and 2x plus 5 on the other side. Okay, so 2x times x. Now remember, x times x, that's repeated multiplication. So I need to have an x squared. So this is 2x squared. 2x times 3, that's 6x. 5 times x, that's 5x. 5 times 3, that's 15. And remember, the last step to doing this problem is to make sure we combine our like terms. And if you've set it up the right way, then it should be those 2 right there because they both have x. So that's like doing this one right here where we have 5x and 6x makes 11x. So this is 2x squared plus 11x plus 15. Okay, so that's how you combine like terms. Okay, so now we're going to move on to this foldable, or not the foldable, to this little blue example, which just combines both of the ideas that we just talked about. So we're going to combine like terms, and we're going to distribute. So I see parentheses, so outside parentheses is always a 1 if it's not written. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of both this parentheses and this parentheses. And now I'm going to distribute. 1 times 4x is just 4x. And 1 times negative 6x squared is just negative 6x squared. Negative 1 times 6x is negative 6x. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. I have a negative times a negative, so I must have a positive. Okay, everything else that's up here still has to come on down. So 2x squared. This is a positive 4x, so I'm going to put a positive sign, which turns into a plus sign in my equation. And this is positive 9. Now I'm going to look for things that have the exact same variable and the exact same exponent. So I see 2x squared at the beginning here. It can go with negative 6x squared. Don't forget, you have to include the symbol before the number. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Next up, I've got 4x. And I've got negative 6x. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So this is minus 2x. Lastly, I've got my 9 and my 3. Plus 9 plus 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. So we say plus 12. So this combines both of those ideas for simplifying into one example. Okay? Alright, the last thing on this page is this green foldable that says solving multiple step equations with variables on both sides. And if you open it up, we have no example of an equation, so we're going to have to write one in there. We'll put it on the outside right here. Let me get that equation and write it down for you. Okay, so that equation is negative 5x minus, and then we're going to say parentheses, negative 7 minus 4x, close the parentheses, equals negative 2 times 3x minus 4, parentheses. So that is the original equation. You zoom in because it might be a little bit blurry. So write that right there if you can. If not, write it off to the side somewhere if it doesn't fit. That's our original equation. Okay? So, the very first step that we're going to do, just like the very first step we did on this blue page over here, is we're going to distribute. Okay, that's what it says, distribute first. So we have parentheses here and we have parentheses there. So I'm going to write the equation again on the inside. So it was negative 5x minus negative 7 minus 4x equals negative 2 times 3x minus 4. So we're going to distribute. There's parentheses here, so remember there is an imaginary 1 hiding in here. There's a 1 right here in front of it. There's an imaginary 1 hiding in this equation. So we're going to say negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. Negative 1 times negative 4x is positive 4x. Draw our line. Remember that the negative 5 doesn't just disappear, it has to come down. And then on this side, we're going to distribute as well. Negative 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x. And negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Okay? Okay. The one thing that sort of sucks a little bit about this foldable is that we have to copy this equation down every time we turn the page. So we're going to copy this line right here. We're going to copy it on the next page. Okay? So we're showing it step by step. So we're at negative 5x plus 7 plus 4x equals negative 6x plus 8. Draw your line to separate the sides. So what can I combine on this? Well, I'm only looking at one side at a time. So I can't look at this side. All I can look at is the side that's not covered up. I can put this negative 5x together with this positive 4x to get negative 1x. And on the other side, there's nothing that I can put together with the 6x. Okay? We're just thinking about it one side at a time. So I cannot put these two together, cannot combine across the line. Remember, you cannot combine across the line. Okay, so the negative 5 and the 4 can go together, but the negative 6 does not go with anything. It just comes straight down. Okay? Alright, so we're going to copy this line over again on the next page. So it's negative 1x plus 7 equals negative 6x plus 8. I'm going to copy it down and draw your line. At this point it says move the variables to one side. Now remember, in my class we talk about finding the bigger side with variables. So which side is bigger, negative 1 or negative 6? Negative 1, right? So the bigger side is negative 1. Okay? So that means we're going to move everything to Texas. Move every variable to Texas. They're going to go on a voyage to Texas, right? So we're going to say add 6x to both sides. So this is 5x plus 7 equals, and then on this side, 6x minus 6x cancels out, so it turns into just positive 8. Okay? Alright, and the next step is to move the constants to the other side. Remember, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and stop the video, pause it, and catch up. So 5x plus 7 equals 8. So that means that we don't want anything else in Texas besides x. So we want to get these constants out of Texas. So minus 7 from both sides. That cancels, and we've got 5x equals 1. And then the last step is to divide or multiply, depending on our situation. So if there's a number in the denominator on the bottom, there's a number down here, we would multiply first and then divide. But there isn't, so we're just going to divide. And I do lazy math. I don't care to find the decimal for that. Okay? Just leave it as it is. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.